Hey, welcome everyone. My name's Pauline, and I'm here again with yet another video for your holiday season that you might want to add. I don't have a finished version of it, but I have its twin that we did last year. Maybe you got in on that. This is our famous Oregon sign cut out. Really light, old fence board, sanded beautifully. Got all the dust, sawdust off of there, and I have my truck drawn on, which your board will as well. I want to show you what we did last year, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just repositioning and showing the truck in a little bit different angle, so that you have a set, and or you have one or the other. So you can see the colors that we're using here, and we've got this dark blue at the top, and we're going to put the same mountains in and kind of wrap it around. We're just going to position the truck a little bit differently. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to talk to you about your brushes that you should have. We use all the time. We have a 1-inch flat. We have a round brush, just about any size. You don't want it to be too small. And then this little brush right here is this kind of the half size of this one right here. So I use that a lot, and that's great for like your packages and getting in there. And if you do have any extra brushes, this little flat one right here is really nice for outlining that we're going to do in the end. So I'm going to set this painting up here on an easel so that I kind of see where I'm going with this. And we are going to start off. I talked about the brushes, and I treat all of my classes like it's the first time that you've taken something from us. And I own Vino and Van Gogh in downtown Springfield, Oregon, and we are been here 11 years in the same spot. So we are going to talk about your palette right here, and all of you went home with some cool little pots of paint. You can just kind of see where I took my finger, drug it out. Now I've got the dark blue, I got the other blue, got the green. You have one shade of green, but you're going to be able to mix all the colors that we want you to have by mixing it with the dark to get the backs of the trees. We're going to be all over the place. The only thing that is not here right now is black and white. And we're going to use lots of white as soon as we get the background finished. And if you have never painted on the wood before, this wood is especially dry. And you're going to, and like I said, this painting or this medium that we use is acrylic, and it loves water. So you're going to have to use a lot of water, because you're going to see that it just sucks it up and soaks it in. Have some paper towels ready. I don't need that eraser, just get everything out of my way, because we're going to start slinging some paint here in a little bit. I'm going to show you how to wash your brush and when the time comes, and so that keeps your water nice and clean, and you don't have to keep going to the kitchen sink and dumping it and getting more. And so without further ado, here is the bucket right here that we have. And you just want to make sure, rule thumb number 1, always wet your brush before you stick it in the paint. Yeah, it's a good way to ruin your brush, and the cleanup is so much easier with any kind of paint. So I'm going to put this dark blue all the way down here, probably even, even past the sky a little bit, because you don't want to just have a silk screen. You don't want to have blue here, green here, a darker green here. You want to kind of have it overlap those lines. So I dunked my brush in the water. I'm going to take a little bit right here, put it on both sides, so it's kind of loosey-goosey, and I'm probably still going to add another dunk of water with that. Okay, and I'm going to go right through the pencil lines. Don't worry about it. We gave you a little template, and you can see that this is pretty ugly. It's not going to build up. Let's get that first layer on there first. And it's just going to soak up and look like nothing. Sometimes it looks pretty cool, depending on what you're painting. But we want this guy to be to have some, a little bit of blue, kind of blackish blue. It's, you know, basically kind of a blackish blue sky. It's for our stars to show up. Once we get this first layer on, it's gonna kind of fill in the pores of the board a little more for you, and it will, latex is plastic paint, so it's gonna seal it a little bit. It's like putting a primer on, and then your other colors will stay on the top without soaking in. So we're gonna prime this board. We're gonna go all the way down. Love these videos because you can stop and pause and rewind. And I don't need to, you know, some of my boards, some of my packages are going to be red, and I don't need to make them red. So it kind of go around my little presents right there. Just kind of stick your brush like this and drag it to the side. You can see where the blue, a little bit right there. So I'm going to come along, and I'm going to give it another coat. You can see it's starting to behave a little bit. And just come past that chalk line that we have right there. Sure hoping this video, I'm shooting it in natural daylight, and sun came out, and all of a sudden my board just had so much glare on it, so kind of backed myself into a corner here. All right, so that's about all I'm going to put on this right here. Just kind of make sure it goes up to those packages. And we're going to come along. You don't need to clean your brush. And we'll probably add a little bit. Let me see. I can't really see what this looks like unless I turn it to the light. Okay, that looks good enough. Without cleaning your brush, I want you to take the green, and that's pretty green. I'm going to have you mix it with a little bit of that dark blue until you kind of get sort of a dark blue. And when you get it like that, I'm going to have you take a little bit of brown, just to tip the end of it like this, and mix that in. We're getting kind of a more natural colored green, more of a Loden green, kind of an army green instead of that really bright green that we gave you. Okay, so not only are you learning how to paint, you're going to be learning how to mix your own colors. I'm going to put this on, and I still want to kind of have the truck be, we don't want to have the sky coming all the way down here, so this is going to be about the snow line right here. Just kind of make a little wiggle over there and add this dark green in there. And it barely shows up because it's so dark that it just kind of blends into that blue, but we're going to immediately put some white on that as well. Mix. And it looks like it was kind of like, and drag it like that. Now, at any time you can leave some of your boards show through. We're going to kind of start, like one of our trees is going to come like right in here, and it's going to, you know, fill up. But I'm going to leave some of that land, some of that gorgeous kind of light brown gold, tan colored wood show through. So without any more hesitation, I'm going to get some white. I didn't think I'd be using the white I'll let you guys catch up for a second. I'm going to jump over here and get some white, and I think I'm going to grab some little bit of tan because I kind of covered it up. We'll make sure that we send you home with all of that as well. Okay, so. And the blue is going to look pretty blue. I'm trying to open this cap. It says, I'm not having it. You go walk over there and get what you forgot to bring to the table. Okay, so I grabbed a couple more colors that I'm going to make sure that you leave with. And got my white right here, so I am ready to kind of mix that white into the green. And I also brought a little bit of kind of warm things up a little bit. I brought some kind of yellowish brownish, you know. I'm gonna take a little bit of that and mix that in and grab some white. And let's just kind of mix up a little color right here. Pull some brown in. And we're gonna send, you know, you look at your picture that you have, so kind of like that. Boy, that came a long way from being this right here, bright kind of green. I don't know how that ended up in my palette, but that's just a color that is really hard to work with, and you have to add other colors so that the other, you know, so the other colors have a fighting chance. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put in this ridge of mountains right in here. You can see this right here. I'm going to put in that little ridge of mountains all the way across, and I'm going to kind of divide up, make my sky a little bit smaller. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. So right here by the green, we're going to sort of go, I'm going to start off with the edge of my brush like this. I want to make sure my video's on. Yes, it is. We are recording. Oh, yes, yes. Oh, I got a new phone, so I was so excited. This is kind of pull a little bit more brown in there. And just kind of make some mountains like that. And just blend that together. And turn your brush on the side to get the... And when your brush runs out of water, avoid dunking it all the way in, because when you do, you're just picking up a whole inch of water, which you don't need. It's going to make your colors too runny, and it takes a lot of practice to get them the right consistency, the right thickness or thinness. So I'm going to go out with some more trees right here. Not too many mountains, you know, otherwise it's going to start looking like, you know, the toothpick, sawtooth ridge, whatever, toothpick ridge. A few little, this looks like it's a little higher than over here, so just dip my brush in the water. I'm going to take some more paint and make it look like that. Just kind of want them in the background. They're going to fade away. There's going to be other things right in here, and we're going to come along right now. We're going to come along with a brown that we gave you, and it's the lighter. We gave you a dark brown and a lighter brown. One of the browns looks just a little bit blonder, a little bit more reddish brown, and I'm going to take that and just kind of make a little line, little brown line right there, and about right here, the edge of these mountains right there. And then we're going to fill it up with some green and brown, which we already did right here. So this is where I want to kind of start avoiding going all the way to the edge, and it's up to you how you want to do your painting. I have the sponge, and usually we don't send sponges with people for boards because they really don't work, but I kind of went a little too far right in here, and I want this board to show up, so I'm going to try and beg this paint to go off of there. This is when it soaks in, it's done. And I can always add a little bit more of the gold to get that color back. So we are just going to put probably about a ½ inch, no more. You don't want it to come all the way down to the cab right here, and that's just wet brush. We're going to come about a ½ inch with some more of that brown and green, and have it a little bit more This time have it a little bit more green than brown. So it's kind of like that. And I'm just going to, you might need to use your, well, yeah, let's do that. I'm going to have you switch to this brush right here. Always wet it. Make sure you wet it. And we'll try and wet it and blot it off. And I'm just going to add some green, that brownish green. It's beautiful right here. And if you lose the little brown edge that you put on there, we're just gonna add that back in. So add a little bit more gold so that it shows up a little bit more. There. And I'm just gonna kind of make that, our tree is going to be right in here anyway, so I'm going to come along the edge of your painting right there. Okay, let's get some white on. Or actually, you don't want white. We want to pick up your big brush again, and you can see, I'm going to show you this painting again. You can see that there is a lot of color down in here, some blues and some greens and some gold of that color that I went to get, and or that kind of yellow brown. So we just don't want to glop white snow on this brown board. Want to have a little bit. It's nighttime in the snow, you know, whenever people take photographs of their snow and it has blue tinge to it. It's really, really pretty. It's kind of what we want. So I've got this color on my brush right now, so you don't even have to clean it off. We're just gonna add some color down in here. We'll take a little bit of that blue that we put up in the sky. I'm gonna take mostly that other blue that I gave you, and that is a really pretty blue. You see it in, that's kind of more of a purpley blue. And I'm just going to kind of randomly. If you get it too much on your brush like this, always mix it on your palette before you head over to the canvas or the board. You'll end up with a big clump right there. So that just means I'm going to put more water on. And try not to have rectangles of color, like a box here and a box there. Blend them together, just kind of, you know, so they have a reason to be there. Instead of like, what's that out there? And then whatever mistakes we make, we're just going to cover them up with white, which is what I'm going to do now. So, we will put a layer of white on, and then we're going to let it dry, and then we'll put our trees on. We'll work on the truck. So right now, I'm going to have you clean your brush really well. Just counterclockwise, clockwise in your water. Take your napkin, blot it a couple times, and I'm going to take a lot of my white, put it right there. And just kind of mix it all up. Mine's got lumps in it, so I'm going to make sure you guys don't get that. A couple dunks of water. It's almost greasy. You want to put it on thin because it's going to take a couple layers before everything's, you know, this gives you kind of chance to go, oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? Now we have a big tree that's going to come right in here. Kind of like that. So I'm going to stay away from this area over here, and I'm just going to blend it up in there. You can see it's kind of got that color, that nice blues and greens that you put on. I'm going to come and kind of keep my, you want to avoid at all cost, avoid putting straight lines on, like a real straight line, because they're really hard. It's kind of hard to get rid of. And there's my tree that's gonna kind of go up in here. And so cover this up. This is a good time to take a break and pause and rewind and I don't know if I'll put any white over there. I'll think about that. So. I forgot that tree, there's a big tree on this side too. And so little of it went in there that it's not gonna matter if your tree goes over something. But since I got it right away, it did lift with the sponge. So I'm just gonna kind of outline and then go nuts. Don't worry about if you accidentally come up into your truck a little bit with the white. That's totally fine. We're going to put snow on the fenders and we're going to put snowflakes in front of it. I like to just kind of put my brush there and chip away at it like that. You use a variety of brush strokes, kind of different directions. A little hashtag, like we call it cross hatching, where you go like this, and then you do a tic-tac-toe, and that's a good way of blending. And we'll definitely come back many, many more times with layers of snow. And while this dries, we will start working on our truck. While the truck dries, we'll put the snow in the tree. So, put the trees and the snow on the trees. Okay, there we go. Right there. Okay. Could always add more down at the bottom. I'm going to kind of let it sort of surrounded with a little wood here, and it's totally up to you. How much snow, how much sky you put across. I do see that my sky needs to be a lot bluer. And here comes the sun. I'm going to check and see what kind of image I'm getting here. Yeah, I can see the blue. Boy, that sun, I have this, yeah, it's got to move. Ooh, it's coming. Hang on, people, you go ahead and paint, and I'm going to move my setup. I'm so backed into the corner here, but that's, I guess, what happens. Okay. I'm not used to painting in all this sun, because that really does has to change. You need to be in a kind of a darker room and just let the camera do its thing and adjust the lighting. And so I'm going to pull this up a little bit, make sure that you guys can stay with me, and I might have to keep moving this way. I'm going to check and see what you're getting. Oh, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Okay. So I'm going to mix up these blues here. What we got? Right, so. And I've got a wet brush and I'm just putting another layer of blue on the sky. Go like this and chip away at it. Chip away. These mountains are kind of green. You can just kind of go around like that. Dab. Dab. No. There we go. This is going to take a little while to dry, and we can go ahead and put another layer on right now. I just went ahead and messed up my brush. A good way when you're working with these dark colors to keep your water clean, to keep your white from getting really contaminated, just take your brush and put it between a paper towel and gently pull on it. There's all your paint right there, and your water will stay clean for the whole painting. And then I just pinch it off, make sure you got all that color out of there where you just have white. I went back into the blue or whatever color that you've been working with. I'm gonna go ahead and, I think we're gonna go ahead and put our trees in right now. So, the smaller brush that you have is the little 1/4 inch flat. It's here in my water, okay. And we're gonna get some dark trees, and we'll put one right here, a small one right here, and a whole row of them right here, and they're gonna show up because we're gonna make them a little bit darker. So I'm gonna have you take the dark green and the dark blue, so it's about a little bit darker, a little bit darker. There, it's almost black. And I'm just gonna kind of get rid of most of your paint like this. And I'm going to test this color right here and just kind of take your brush and wiggle it out to the side, and there's one. If you need it a little bit darker, which I think I do, grab some of that dark brown. Yeah, that's kind of, it's almost a little color. We'll go back when that dries. I can go back and get that darker. And you can use your little, you want to kind of go up above the mountains a little bit and come down into the snow. You can have them go together. You know, this kind of almost looks like a little sunset over here. Yep, the dark brown is really the key to getting that green and that blue really dark. Of course, you can always add a little touch of your black too. And let's just go ahead and put them. Our big tree is going to go over the top of this, but we don't want to have to go and put a tree in behind a tree that's already been painted in the front. So let's get our background done. You can kind of see that. I'm going to have you go with a little bit of your black if this is not, if you can't, if it's not working for you. Another way to get black is to mix the green and the dark red too. So see there, I'm going to add, just going to put that on top of that. And I'm going to do the same thing with the tree over here. There's one, and it goes, kind of put it on the side like that. Kind of got it tall, so I'm going to have to put the side branches. They will show up because we're going to put a little snow on them. Just kind of get them in the background right now. We don't need to fuss with them. Now there's no trees right there except this guy right here. And I'm going to have you take a dark color, dark blue, dark green. And we're going to put two trees right here. One of them is going to kind of come right here. So let's just start this one here. I just kind of rest my pinky right here, and I'm going to kind of just go straight down like this. So that's my stalk right there. And the other one is going to be a little bit lower and probably right in here. So to get these trees, you want to have a little bit taller top, and then they just kind of start feathering out. Just kind of chop away like that. And get better. They're going to come together at the base. So I'm just kind of pulling that paint. You can always go back and add highlights and snow. In fact, they will show up beautifully after we get that done. Red, brown, green. Red, brown, and green. More green. Okay. This one's right here. We're just going to kind of make them go together here in the end. And then there's one more right in here. And then we are done with the whole background, except let this dry just a little bit. We'll put some snow in there, make them show up a little bit, but we're gonna come back after they dry and we'll put some highlights in. I'm gonna do this one right here, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna put it where this second tree is, and it's not gonna show up. That's because we haven't outlined it yet. Just kind of draw it. It goes almost down to the top of the hood, the top of the cab right here, and it's going to get pretty big. So I'm just going to kind of like this, turn my brush and wiggle it. Big old tree. Guess he's not going to be somebody's Christmas tree this year. Okay, so now I have the browns from the wood showing through, and let's do our truck. It's going to work on our truck. So I'm going to have you pull the paint off of your brush. We're going to work with red right now, and I'm going to take just a couple minute break right here because I really didn't get the black color that I wanted to, and I could see it over there. I'm always running other colors that I love. So let this dry. Here's the trees that I'm showing you about right here, and it looks, what we're going to do is we're going to mix up a lighter green and just kind of go with the edge of our brush. We're just going to put those on and add some little snow on this when we come back to the white, and a little bit lighter color green in here. These are just like kind of like dark, they're actually sort of dark blue. And then let's work on the truck. And I got gave you guys two different reds. I kind of prefer starting off a little bit darker and then adding my highlight. So I'm just going to mix a little color over here, and we are going to kind of outline. I'm not sure what's going to go in here yet. I know that when we did the cab last year, you could see through the windows, and you could see the landscape through the back window, through the side window. You could see the snow. So I'm not sure. We could put white in there, or maybe you guys have a better idea. Maybe you have a truck sitting out in your driveway. I'm just going to kind of put a thinner coat on right now so some of your pencil lines are still visible. And let's just cover the whole thing up with pretty thin water. This is going to be fun. And I'm just going to kind of go around some of the chalk lines. So, but I know that this is just a big circle of white right here for the headlight. So I don't have to be too careful on. And we're really going to make sure that this red is really dry, because we don't want our snow to. We want some of it to show through when we put our snow, but we don't want. We want a little bit of the red to show through, but we don't want our snow to turn pink, which some of it will, and that's kind of the reflection, but right now we're just gonna, and there is a red, another red that you guys got that is really pretty brilliant, and you may want to use that. And like I said, I'm gonna go get the real black, because I need black for the tires, and we're gonna need black for the outlining. So while you finish this, I will and I like to keep the video running all the way through, because then I don't have to have my guy find where the break was and splice it together. And this, of course, is red too. I'm going to outline it black, and then it's going to have white snow on it. So you can kind of see where I have left. You could just make that a license plate. So don't go ahead and paint your tires, because we're going to go ahead and paint them red, because we're going to come over that. We're going to cover that up with black, and it's going to overpower any color that's under there already. So I think that this is probably going to have white snow in here. At the same time, paint some of your packages red. I'm going to have a big red one at the top right here. And I'm going to have red and white packages. And it's kind of just drag your brush down like that. And then turn it a little bit. Or you can paint the whole thing and make it any shape you want. Kind of want it to look a little three-dimensional. So when we drew it on for you, we sort of made it look like it was going like that. And probably we could do another red box right here. And just by keeping them red and white, it's going to be a lot easier to see, because we really simplified this paint. This drawing that Megan did a year ago. It had a million packages on it, and I think if you look at this one right here, and actually we have sent you a little picture. We cut it down to just two presents, two great big presents. Somebody's going to get something fun. So this is, I'm going to let you guys catch up a little bit. I'm going to disappear because I need to find. There's a really pretty cherry red that some of you might want to use, and I kind of want I do need to brighten mine up a little bit. It's kind of, oh good, sun left. Sun is gone. So right here, I will be right back. We're going to be using quite a bit of black. I mean, not a big pile of it, but more tedious kind of little brush strokes that we'll get into if you have this small brush like that, because there's a ton of outlining we need to do, and you might just get into the whole quiet zone and forget about everything. I got some different colored white here, and I'm going to go ahead and make one of my presents pure white. Just gonna follow that line right there. He looks like he's a little smushed. We'll cover it up with ribbons, and we will get that other red going. You can dip your, you can put your red, of course, in the white paint and get more of a pinker. So I wasn't sure how I was going to do those two reds together or two whites together. I guess a different colored bow. So this is a fun part right here. Here's another one. I can bring that pink down because it's in between the red and the white. Maybe get a little bit darker on the bottom. Now it's kind of starting to look plummy. Just go at this point. You still don't have to erase or paint over all of your chalk lines because those are going to magically disappear with they're going to magically disappear when you put the all the bows on. But I'm pretty sure I'm just going to make things a lot simpler. I might put a little bit of blue snow out here. Had some blue in my paint, so I'm like, okay, I need you. And you can go as far as put a steering wheel on if you want to. We'll put the headlights and everything last. I'm ready for another coat of white paint. So I'm going to take I'm going back to my big brush, and I'm really going to start laying it on thick. I took, and maybe one dunk of water, and depending on how much white you already have on, but I'm going to show you how to kind of cover up these trees right here and kind of clean it up and just kind of make a little more straighter line, kind of go up into it a little bit, go around here and kind of add a little water. Kind of want it real heavy in the back and maybe a little bit thinner out here. We'll get crazy with our brush strokes because we're going to, I want some of that blue to show through. Okay. And if that green comes down into your board, that's great. That's what you want. Gonna want these colors to mix and get along. And okay, I'm just kind of stamping it out on my brush right now. These are older brushes. And kind of make that snow look like it was a little bit windy when the storm came through. We want to put before we add any, and I don't know if you've added a round under here, we kind of want to put like a stain on here first, and if you already covered it up with white, no problem. I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of this paint that's on here. With a small half brush, let's get some kind of dirty and kind of a brownish. I really have a clean brush, and I'm just going to kind of take my black here and make kind of a watery gray, and there it is, black. And just kind of right here in front of the tire. And a little bit right there, little shadow. And then we have this right in here. It's just kind of a wet look, I just kind of put a little bit of make sure that it's not too black. You don't need to. That's probably a little bit too much, but we're going to always put the snow, we're going to pile the snow up against that truck, against those wheels, so they're not so perfect. While I have that in my little pot of black, I'm just going to go ahead and put the tires in. We know those are going to be black, and that just right there and right there. Okay, so whatever color you end up with your truck, I'm going to, I think the little bright color that we gave you, I'm going to show you. Pull that out right now. It's pretty, you might want to just save this for highlights. It's pretty crazy red. And since this has already had my first coat on, I'm just going to take a little bit of that red and find a clean spot on your paper plate. Maybe you have more. I'm going to brighten this baby up a little bit, yeah. So that leaves it with some of the darker color underneath, making it look, you know, a little older. And I'm not just totally covering it up. I'll put some more white in the snow there. Maybe a steering wheel. The what are those things called over the headlight? Fender. Those can get a nice coat of fresh paint because they're higher and they're going to be brighter. We'll really want to make sure that this dries right in here so that you don't have pink headlights. I just use a mixture of both of those. I'm going to put a grill on mine. Like a grill. I'm not sure if that's a Ford thing or... Here we go. It's really going to pretty cool. Glad I did this one. I wanted to do it last year, but I'm like, we ended up doing the other one. So now, this time it gets to, all these old drawings come out of the drawer, talk about what we're going to be doing for our next project. I'm going to go ahead and kind of paint this one down in here the darker red, because it's sort of, well, we do have the bumper. I think that bumper was supposed to be, white, so leave it alone. According to the other one, it's more chrome. And you can look at the little picture, because we gave you two of them. You kind of have the one that we did last year, so if that doesn't work, okay, so I'm going to put a little bit more snow in my window here, and all these little pots of color. You don't have to like completely make it solid. It looks better when it's just a little bit more, you know, organic looking. I'm going to hydrate some of this, a little bit of this blue. Put some blue out in the snow. But first, it needs another coat of white. So go ahead and stick that on there. And this is for this last coat right here. You can put it on, just make sure your brush isn't too dry, but you can, this time it's really going to stick, and you can get those mounds of snow to look really frothy and white, and you got some dips and shadows in here with your blue. I need a little more green right in here, and just kind of have fun with it and tap it. You know, the snowdrops are going to come on top of this right here, so it's all going to look really cool. So much to do yet right now with outlining. So I think I'm going to start in the back. I'm going to let this truck dry. I'm going to start in the back and come on down. So if you have the, I think what we're going to do, I think what we probably did is gave you one of these little brushes, because it's so important that you have this size. And we were selling our brushes, but we were keeping these back because we didn't need to, and then we ended up with a whole box of like 30 or 40 of them. So Merry Christmas. I'm gonna put some of the light green before I go to the white. I'm gonna kind of mix a lighter green, a little bit of that green, and a little bit. I think you've already got that pot. I'm gonna make sure that you guys have that pot, so you don't have to do so much mixing. And I'm going to kind of come, all of a sudden this tree comes to life, and this is just kind of hit it here and hit it there and let some of that dark show through, and then when we come back we'll put some white on it. I'm going to do the same thing with the tree over here, and just kind of test it out for us. You don't want it to be too pale. You want to kind of have a little medium. So we're going to come right here. And do the same thing with that second one. Okay. I'll put a little line right in here, kind of soften that a little bit. And I don't know if my painting needs any green. If it does and it's light enough, just kind of rub it around with your finger a little bit so that you have all these colors kind of represented and not isolated. While we have this little brush before we go into the black, I'm going to go ahead and outline, or with just the pure white, kind of dip it in. And there's a couple, actually this little tree is the only one. And always just kind of take your brush when you have paint and just kind of tap it and distribute it so that it's nice, and you don't go up there with a big clunk of paint. So, and just some snow on some of these branches. I think that's it. You can put some more, depending on how many trees you have. Maybe this guy kind of needs a little bit. We're going to put our snowflakes too, so. Almost less is more. And then I think this is good enough. This shows up. Everything shows up. If it's not, just put a little bit layer on there. And I'm going to get my black paint. We're going to outline this and put our white headlights in here. So we'll go ahead and outline it first with the black. And put your packages. I haven't painted that yet, so it's interesting. We'll see what color that ends up being. And so this is a nice little outlining brush. And you can diddle daddle all day long. With this one, there's another big box at the top. I'm gonna put a white bow on here, like we did last year, and maybe some blue bows. I think that I'm getting a little bit too, and I'm so glad that I'm ahead of you right now, unless you guys went and did it. But I'm gonna try and, I think I'm gonna paint, this, I think I'll paint a white package and put a blue bow on it. And, so just continue to, outline the top of your truck and lightly, just not a lot of brush pressure. If you want your lines really thin, the harder you press, the thicker your line's gonna be. Okay. More black. Just dip your brush in the pot, and you might have to go give it a couple coats right here. Okay. Love when our customers send us photographs of what they've done. This looks like a big eyes, look like cartoons, so I'm going to take off. I don't think I need to outline the whole thing. We're going to put a little bit of shadow in here, but we don't need it to be so harsh. So take that off a little bit, and we'll come back. So this right here is going to be something, another piece of chrome. And okay, when you brush, just barely dip it in the water. You don't need a lot at this time. And I think we're just going to have this white, and maybe I'll have a black license plate with some white letters on it. So, unless that's something hanging out of the bottom of a truck, probably is. Probably something structural. And I'm going to write letters on it, right? Okay, so it's got a ways to go, and it's going to come together when we get all the rest of these outlines done. And I want to show you again kind of what you're looking at, what we're looking at. You know, get there. It's very simple. There's not a whole lot of outlines to be had. You don't want to put a lot of detail in. It looks to me a little straight across here, so I'm going to kind of soften that up a little bit, and I'm going to kind of bring some maybe brown and green and just kind of come down into that, so it's not so it kind of has this little oval, you know, look to it. A little brown, little green, just kind of dab around your trees here. Maybe there's some footprints out there. And if that doesn't work, just kind of obliterate them a little bit with your sponge or paint over them. But anything to just keep from having this flat, you know, like this makes it look so much nicer. So I need to wait for this to dry, and because I know I'm kind of rushing it here. I'm not sure how long my video is going to run or process, and we are still on it. Yeah, there we go. Got a lot of glare. Gonna have to work fast because the sun is not going to go away today. And check this out. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want this white. It's all over my hand right here. It exploded. So that's some nice thick paint. We just did a red truck last night with on a board sign with a big, huge Christmas tree. That tree was so big in that truck that we had to make the bed longer. So, because it looked silly, it looked like it was gonna tilt over. So, just kind of patch some snow in there. And it'll continue to kind of soak in and just keep going until you get the desired effect that you like. And now that I got my white paint that I wanted, I'm going to take my little brush right here, which is very clean, pinch it out, don't want it to be wet, and just kind of get a little bit of white paint on your brush. And I'm going to do some white ribbons. Let's see how those look. Yeah, you're definitely going to need to have these little brushes. I'll put another, and maybe a big bow like this. That's starting to come alive. I don't think we need to outline any of these packages with black. I don't think black needs to be on our Christmas. We don't need black ribbons this time of the year. This is 2020. Okay. And maybe I'll put a ribbon there, and there's a lid. Could put a lid here. Maybe some ribbons here. And this present's going to be wet. Forgot about that. So, one of the things with this paint is it is so opaque, especially on this wood. If you put it on thick with, we did the background really watery, and we wanted to kind of have that wood show through. But when it comes to these Christmas presents, you want it nice and bold and bright and pretty, and so I'm covering up most of my black lines. That's kind of what I was getting at. Is this paint is very forgiving. Oh, we got this hard line here, but we're gonna put snow on the top. We're gonna get rid of that line and just kind of have a little snow came in right here. Okay, so some of those presents have to show up. There has to be a little bit of black line, and I'm going to come back with a blue. Put that there, and I'm going to put a bunch of snow right here on the fender. There, and on here, just right on that black line, and kind of cover up that black line. Let's put our headlights in. And they're round. There's two of them. We didn't draw them on because we're going to let you do that. Too many lines on this when we give our paintings away. Too many lines are really confusing, and it kind of makes people hesitate. Because they're trying to stay either between the lines or out of the lines. There's another little headlight right here. And just a little, or this one really came down. Okay, I'll put it down here. Maybe it's not a tail light. Your front blinker's not working, ma'am. Okay, there we go. And we've got a bunch of snow kind of hanging off right here, and a little bit right here. This is that chrome. I'm going to let some of my, you'll see that your brush is kind of let some of that wood show through. That looks pretty cool. Just a different texture. You know, I could go ahead and just overdo it and fill the whole thing in, but I like some of this wood showing through. The grain is going this way. My brush is going that way, so I'm getting a different look to it. My sky really got light, and I'm going to keep it that way because it's good for teaching. But when I finish this thing, I am going to, I'll have to put another coat of dark on there because it got too dark for me. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to get that sky to behave. And I just had bad light. Okay. I had too much light. So now I've got 3 different colors in my sky. I got that nice kind of blue. Evening is just coming. And I'm just going to kind of pat it on there. Hopefully it doesn't look too patched up. I'll have to get a smaller brush and go in between the... No. Just dab like that. Dab like that. Dab like that. Okay. All right. Much better. Put a little blue. Oh, I could just keep going and going and going. Make a little bit of blue out here. Because they just kind of left that area. They got their presence. And I'm going to put some snow or a little bit of shadow right in here in the corner, which you want to kind of put in the cart in front of the horse here. I'm going to take a little bit of that darker red, a little tiny little bit of the black, and just kind of add a little stain in here. It shows up a little bit. There we go. Now for your license plate, you can you can just put over whatever you want. I'm just going to kind of put XOXO. It's the simplest, right? Oh, gotta have them get that out of there. X. I'm gonna put X's all the way across. There. Now it looks a little patriotic. It looks like stars. And okay. I'm just going to go around the inside halfway and wait for this to dry of your headlights. And the detail is where it really starts making it fun. We'll put a little steering wheel here. Okay, I'm going to forget about all the things I still need to do and put some snow in there. A little snow on top of that. And so when you do the snow, all you have to do is just and put it in front of the truck. This is what really makes it look fun. And when it starts becoming really fun, it really starts it ties everything together. Spatters and snowflakes, and we do it all the time. And your painting will just kind of come alive. And you want to have those snowflakes. You can see that they're white enough. You use white enough paint. So clean paint you haven't used yet. And it even shows up on the snow, because it's snowing in front of the truck, it's snowing behind the truck, snowing on the edge of the truck, so that'll help you break some of those lines that are really big, got away from you a little bit. And just kind of randomly put snowflakes on the presents. Oh, we don't need to overdo it. I still need to do that blue bow, but I'm having too much fun with this right here. Come down. And this would be where your little round brush would come in really handy. I'm kind of getting a straight snowflake, but can even do a little shooting star. And some snowflakes in front of these trees. After this dries a little bit, I don't want to put the snow right here. If your tires got too, if your snow right here, just kind of drag a couple lines through it like this. Just soften it a little bit. If you are unhappy with any part of it, just wait for it to dry. I can see some things right now, and it's really hard. I want you guys to take a break, enjoy it, come back to it. Just dip your pots in some water, drain it off, put the lid back on, and they're going to be fine. They're going to last, and they'll last for weeks. You can come back to this, and especially if you just take a break for 10 minutes, 20 seconds. Sometimes we have a rule that the painting will thank you. Step away from the canvas. And we tend to kind of overwork it, overthink it. I almost painted that white, and I gotta go back in there with red and get that little bit, it's a little bit too much snow. Maybe I'll put the snow kind of coming down the edge. Isn't this cute? This was a fun little painting to do. I'm really enjoying these videos too. There. Snow there, put snow there. That's enough. Anything else and I'd mess it up and I wouldn't know what I'm doing, and so I'm going to put the blue ribbon on. This one right here, and that's gonna, oh, that was really a wet brush. Some more of that paint and put 2 ribbons down the side. Perfect. Oh my goodness. I do like that blue. I'm gonna have some blue snowflakes too. The blue and the white. Why not? I don't know. They don't even look that bad here. They really look good on the tree. They look good in the sky. Kind of soften them a little bit. And that kind of relates to this color right here. Everything kind of goes back. Could put a blue bow up there. I do like the blue snowflakes. And why not? This might help make it look like a window you can see through if you put a few snowflakes on there too. Yeah, some of these snowflakes just got so bright. Anyway, hey everybody, thank you so much. I want to see a picture of what you did so we can post it and or look at it and show other people. And you know, I'm going to put a little bit of dark right in here. Dark to be underneath of these trees. A little bit right there. So hey, I had fun. I hope you did too. And looking forward to seeing what you came up with. Usually our customers are so, we take theirs when it becomes our next year's painting. We're like, why didn't we think of that? I love the way they did this or the way they did that. Look at all this mess. You can see all the mess that I have around here. So anyway, thank you so much, and I hope I answered all your questions, and let's see if we can kind of keep this from getting too much. There's glare in it right here, and I'm hoping that this video turns out. So it should be like that. Oh, great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.